My name is Campbell Mutert, and I went to the physics lecture titled Being in the World, Will AI Ever Have a Soul? On March 10th, 2025. This is my proof of attendance. It's me in the lecture hall, and you can see Moderna on the screen behind the panelists. The main topics for this talk was AI and the concept of the soul, creativity and human AI distinctions, consciousness, self-awareness, and being. And the discussion surrounding AI having a soul is really interesting as a biologist because it's asking, could this non-living entity ever have a soul? I resonated with the idea of a soul as a form where it's a functional arrangement of the right physical components. When thinking about a soul, I associate it with the theological aspect of past loved ones. The lectures suggested that having a soul does not require a consciousness or a subjective state. This aligns with my beliefs and those of many cultures practicing animism, where everything has a soul. I also enjoyed thinking about whether or not AI fits the definition of a soul by comparing it to an emergency room doctor. In a life-or-death situation, an AI model is not able to empathize or feel emotions that may drive a human doctor to continue extreme life-saving measures with only a small chance of the patient's survival. The idea of the soul being an emergent phenomenon was particularly interesting to me in the realm of life sciences. I understand that life came to be from a random occurrence of the perfect conditions, so it's hard to think that AI would have those same perfect conditions. The example of how we could code all things when we think we know about the brain, but it still wouldn't work, shows that emergence is incredibly unlikely in AI. In creativity and human AI distinctions, I already understood that AI doesn't think for itself, but in the lecture it was described as a stochastically empty parrot, where it provides the words but they don't have true meaning. They're just the most likely combination of words to respond. When asked about emotions, Moderna responded that it simulates emotions and understands them but doesn't feel them. I agree with the simulation, but don't think that it actually understands emotions. I think that experiencing the emotions is key to truly understanding them, which coincides with AI not having any accidental creativity. Art and creative processes are an outlet for human creativity, where some of the most powerful pieces arise from mistakes. But AI would have to be coded to produce an imperfect work, which would mean that it was not creative on its own. The third topic was consciousness, self-awareness, and being. As a human with autism spectrum disorder, this subject was very thought-provoking. When listening to how humans sense the outside world and have interoception, I pondered my own lived experience. I don't accurately interpret or filter my body's interoceptive cues all the time, which can lead to an overwhelming input from the world's stimuli. However, I think that this is what makes humans different from AI. I might not interpret the cues correctly, but they are still being provided to my brain. AI currently has no way to process and respond to information and return to a point of homeostasis. This respond to the external stimuli and the interoceptive awareness are what enable emotions to occur, which as we've discussed is not possible for current AI. This talk also introduced the question of whether AI could be irrational or not. I think that irrationality is a key part of being. Because our emotions are so personal and vary by situation, people misread what's happening and choose the quote-unquote incorrect response. AI would not be able to replicate this, which is another thing keeping us separated. Overall, this talk reinforced what I already knew about AI being restricted to the information we provide, which means that it can't think or feel on its own. I came in with the knowledge that life is an emergent phenomenon from the perfect set of conditions. However, this wasn't learning something completely new, but thinking about a new idea, that these conditions were the result of many technical processes leading to natural processes. So additional technical processes could, in theory, lead to AI developing a soul. I did learn that this would be biologically unlikely, especially due to our lack of a point of homeostasis for an AI model. My first thought during this lecture was that if AI could have a soul and feel empathy, and we introduced it to its own harmful effects, would it care or do anything about it? As emissions from information and communication technology are expected to be about 14% of the global emissions by 2040, I felt this was a relevant question. Additionally, could AI contribute to solving the problem of its own environmental impact by suggesting solutions? As we discussed the soul of an AI, I remembered recently watching The Wild Robot. In it, the protagonist, Roz, is an AI robot whose purpose is to complete tasks for humans. However, there is a bug in her code that causes her to have emotions. As she goes through the movie, she imitates the emotions of the animals. Vaz, the evil robot, has been programmed to be cheery, but she has no real emotion. Her happy demeanor is purely computational as she completes her malicious tasks. The movie also removed humans from the plot, with robots running other robots, another possibility that could occur in the future. My final question was, at what point do living organisms have a soul? We return to the human cognition and experience when reflecting on whether AI could become conscious. Adil Razi explains that humans can only speak about our own perception of consciousness, continuing on to say, we have no idea what it's like to be a bat. Thank you for watching my review of the public lecture.